Hi everyone. I just wanted to come on and say that there's been progress. I am 316. I hope that's what you're seeing. I do want to talk about a few things. If it's what I've been doing, what my secret has been, is I've been, it's called healthy keto. And I've been doing intermittent fasting, which I've been trying to fast for 24 hours. So I only eat once a day. And in that process, what I'm hoping is happening is something called autophagy. I hope I said that right. I think it's autophagy. It's autophagy. If you want to learn more about it, I learned a lot through Dr. Eric Berg on YouTube. He does healthy keto. But it's been difficult. I won't lie about that. And the one thing I did want to talk about was it's starving. For 24 hours, you're hungry. And for the first 2 weeks, I was hungry a lot. And a lot of people say, oh, you're not eating enough. You're not doing it right. No, a lot of people have this problem. It's not just me. It's a lot of people that go into eating once a day. Does suffer from hunger pains, your stomach growling. And it's hard for the first few weeks. After the first few weeks, that kind of tapers off a little bit, so you don't feel like you're wanting to eat really bad. But I did want to talk about that because I think it's more emotional as far as like when you hear your stomach growling or you're hungry. I grew up poor, as I'm sure many people have and are going through this, and one thing that they find troubling is when they do feel hungry, it triggers them and it brings back a lot of painful memories. It brings back a lot of memories that you don't really want to deal with, and a lot of childhood thoughts and feelings that you don't want to deal with either. And I think that's what leads a lot of people to just say, I'm going to eat, forget it, or I don't want to deal with it right now. So what happened with me is I think it was like I was on it for a few months, and my mom had gotten sick and passed away, and I didn't want to deal with being hungry and dealing with that stuff at that time. So from November until I think the 12th of January is when I started I was still on healthy keto, but I stayed on I started doing the 1 a day meal. The 1 a day meal is fine for me. I do not have a problem with it. Like I said, after 2 weeks, that ravenous feeling went away. And I mean, I have tried every single diet there is. And I really think not eating is what's going to help me. And I think that's sad. I don't think that food should be something that you have to starve to get healthy. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem like that's what you should do. But the science behind it, what they're talking about with the autophagy, and about how it gets in your body, it activates your body to get rid of the dead proteins. I'm not sure of everything, so I watched some videos on it, and I watched some more videos on it, so I might have the terminology wrong. But I do want to say this, that it is it's supposed to clean up your body and make you healthier. Like, uh, uh, if you have arthritis, knee pain, chronic pain, and that's why I'm doing it. It's not for weight loss. It's because I want to get healthy in my body. I am 49 years old, and I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling and going through what I'm going through with this chronic pain. It is so bad, and the pain is something that I have to live with, and it's only getting worse. And it's very frustrating. And I hope and I pray that this is the right answer for me. And I hope that losing weight is just the byproduct of it, because that's where I'm at right now. I decided that I was going to try to do the one a day meal and eat only every 24 hours, and then you try to push it. So the longest I've ever gone has been 33 hours. And I'm going to try to go a little bit further every time I can push it, but it just depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm really hungry, if I got really bad hunger pains at 24 hours, I'll start to eat. So, and I try to eat for an hour. I try not to eat longer than an hour. So like, you don't eat straight for 1 hour. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I try to make the meal last for an hour. I don't want to eat everything all at once, and be done in 20 minutes and that's it. That's not something that I enjoy doing. I want to take my time. But I'm going to check in on that, and I want to check on a few other things about the fasting that I'm doing. So another thing that I did want to talk about is I really do feel like this is more mental when you're hungry. The longest I ever been without eating was 3 days, and that was when I was in the hospital and I had IVs, and I was monitored. And I remember when I was so hungry and my stomach would growl and I really wanted to eat, but I couldn't. After 15, 20 minutes, the hunger pains, the growling hunger pains would fade away. And it is something that is more mental than physical, I think. And one thing that I realized is I know you're not going to die by not eating. I'm not eating, people's gone on hunger and fasting for weeks. It just depends on how long you can hold out. So once a day, is fine. I know that. So when I start feeling hungry and I want to eat, I'm just so fed up with it. I'm just tired and I don't want to deal with it anymore. That's when I start feeling weak, and I'm like, not physically weak, but mentally weak. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can make it 24 hours. It's not going to kill me to wait 24 hours to eat. And like I said, I think that has a lot to do with feeling hungry, and you need to deal with why are you upset that you're hungry. Now, that's the one thing I would get very upset about before I started this way of eating is when I get hungry. I was very upset that I was feeling hunger pains because I was so overweight. Like, why am I hungry when I weigh so much? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why do you want food when you're so hungry? And I mean, when you're so overweight. And that's because of what you've been told your whole life. That is what you've been told, that you're fat, you're disgusting, you don't need food. And then here's the other thing. If they find out that you're not that you're not eating, they get upset and they say, oh, you can't starve yourself, you gotta eat. But years ago, when you were complaining that I didn't need to eat, you're going back and forth. But anyways, I do think it is more mental and the things that you've heard. And it's kind of like a reprocessing of what you're taught, of what you've been through. And I think that is something that you have to deal with. So when you're going through this and you're feeling more mental, then you know you need to work on it. And I don't know if it's so bad you need to get counseling, but definitely address it. Don't ignore it, and just don't say and give up on the diet and say, oh, it's not going to work. This is just useless. It's just starving yourself. And it's not starving yourself. What it's doing is it's triggering the autophagy. Autophagy, by the way, was discovered by a doctor that he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2016. And he had a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of proof behind it. So it's just not some fly-by-night diet. Another thing I wanted to address too, when I say that I'm on healthy keto, I'm not eating it's not the Atkins diet. I'm not eating a ton of protein and that's it. That's not true. I'm eating a lot of vegetables. That's not starchy. I am eating like let's see, like a piece of chicken, or, just a piece of meat. And then, I add some fat to that. So like 2 tablespoons of coconut oil that you are allowed some berries. And what I do for dessert is I take the berries and I melt 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and I put a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, and I melt that and I pour it over the berries, and it tastes really good. It makes you feel like you're having a treat. And then another thing I do is I add flaxseed to it as well, and that helps a lot with going to the bathroom. Let's see what else. But anyways, what I was saying is, you watch, it's a different way of eating than like the Atkins diet and all that other stuff. That's not something that ever worked for me. Anyways, if you have any questions, I know how hard it is to feel hungry. And that was something that I really wanted to address because it's been on my mind a lot, that when you feel hungry, it is not a good feeling. And it's, like I said, it is more mental. And it, goes back to when you're hungry, when you were a kid and you couldn't have food, or, what you got from the food pantry. The food stamps ran out halfway through the month and you've got two more weeks left, and you live off the food pantries, and then sometimes they won't let you come back because it's been too short of a time, and you have to get food the way you get food. And as a kid, you don't understand that. You just know you're hungry. And it's very frustrating to know that you're hungry, but it's not valid because you're overweight. As a kid, you're teased all the time, you're bullied all the time because you're overweight. And then when you feel hungry because you need food, you don't really register that as a kid. You just know you need food and you don't understand why. And then you've got all the words that people say to you throughout the day over it. So like I said, it is something that you need to work on. It is not something that it goes away quickly. And I think it is a mental frustration that you have to deal with. And like I said, if it means if you need to talk to somebody about it, talk to somebody about it. Fight this. Do not give up. Try to work it out because I know a lot of people is eating this way, and I know a lot of people think that, oh, they just can't do it. When you can, it is possible. It's just dealing with the things you need to do to get healthy. And it's frustrating and it's hard, and I understand. So if you have any questions, if you want to talk about this, just message me, let me know, and we'll talk to you soon. Hugs and loves.